Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Dadscap. Welcome to Market Pulse, your weekly deep dive into the CS2 economy. Player count dipped slightly following the major in the beginning of the Steam summer sales, down almost 2%. But who gives a damn about players when the money is talking? The market cap reached another all-time high, up almost 2% since last week, and now sitting at just over $5.1 billion. The liquid index is up a decent 1.32%, still trailing behind the market, for which the bulk of the growth this week was not mainly due to the low tiers being up almost 3%, nor was it due to the high tiers finally waking up and climbing just over 3%. No, most of this week's growth was driven by the mid tiers going on a bender and growing by a massive 4.83%.
Wow!
If we take a look at the knives and gloves index, we can see a muted performance with knives just over 1.5% and gloves just under 1%, which seems to indicate some big winners but also some big losers this week. Oops. Meanwhile, extra cosmetics are totally flat. Souvenir charms have not been out long enough for them to impact the market in any meaningful way, so we'll have to wait a bit. And finally, we'll skip the numbers for the cases index because I don't think those are accurate, and you'll understand why I say that very shortly. Sorry for that guys, but I'm working to bring you numbers you can trust going forward, so don't worry about this happening again. The market pulse this week has been keeping faith, and to keep it 100 for real with you guys, I think a lot of this growth is due to cryptos rallying and Bitcoin almost reaching its all-time high once again. But after seeing a lot of resistance, crypto starting going down again yesterday, and obviously skins followed shortly thereafter. So while I remain overall bullish and optimistic on the trajectory of the skins market, I would recommend holding off a bit before making any big purchase. Welcome to Crackdown, where we break down the happenings in the case market over the past week. And this week, oh my fucking god, CS players are fucking dedicated to gambling. 9.3 million cases opened this week, almost 2 million more than last week alone. What the actual fuck? Of which 47% were active cases, 37% were purchasable, and 16% were either rare or discontinued. The number one purchasable case is, surprise, the FIFA case again, with unboxings up a massive 26.6%, shutting down haters like myself who predicted a slow but consistent downtrend going forward. Please forgive me, FIFA case, I won't doubt you ever again. However, an actual surprise this week was seeing the kilowatt case as the top active case, after seeing its opening numbers explode by a 46.7%, which also made it the most liquid case this week, with market listings reaching 335,000 total. As for the number one rare case, the crown is still being held by the snakebite case, up a solid 5.6% and almost reaching the 200,000 cases open mark. Funnily enough, this case was also the one with the most potential, up over 25% this week alone and nearly 30% for the month. Seeing as this case was the previous Dadscap's pick of the week, I'm hoping some of you guys are up good with it. The biggest crash out was the Riptide case, but let's be real, a 2.39% drop for a total loss of 2 cents is less of a crash out and more like a wet fart. Hopefully someone is eating right now. And as for Dadscap's pick of the week, well, I never thought this would actually happen, but I'm going with the GOAT, the fracture case, mainly due to my top tier Bloomberg financially independently financial report of it being almost 5 years old at this point, so surely Valve is getting ready to place it in the rare pool once and for all, right? Right? At least that seems to be what the market is thinking when we take a look at the numbers this week. This may not be a long hold potential depending on what Valve's plans with it are, but short term, it's got potential. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that goofy bell to never miss another market recap in the future. Welcome to winners and losers, starting off with the winning cases, and they tell a clear story. This snakebite case is up over 25%, CS20 up almost 24%, and fracture up over 17%. There's definitely some kind of focused hype going on here, as in money is pouring into cases that contain specific trending items, gloves for the snakebite case, the classic knife from the CS20, and my GOAT speculative pump after months of bleeding. The losers, if we can call them that, were exclusively discontinued cases, so low volume cases who can be very volatile, but even then the two biggest losers, the Riptide and Shattered Web, were barely even down, and the third loser, the Broken Fang, isn't even a loser, it's up actually. It was a damn good week for cases and not the stagnation that the indexes from the market pulse were saying it was. Now for play skins, this week was total chaos. With the beginning of the Steam summer sales, we barely have winners to showcase. Congrats to the Up Redline field tested for staying up with a pathetic 0.52%, but the other two winners, the AK Asimov field tested and the M4 Tomikao minimal wear, are actually down. The real losers, however, got absolutely nuked. The AK frontside Misty lost all of its recent gains, but the real carnage was concentrated in the AK Searing Rage and the M41S Stratosphere, both down over 25%, which makes sense considering these skins, one being a drop from an active collection and the other being found in the FIFA case. Like no sheesh Sherlock, that'd be the first one on the chopping block when you need funds to buy cheap games. Moving on to knives, and big rebound for Doppler knives this week, especially for the phase 2, which defied all expectations and still have some juice left in the tank. The biggest winners being the flip knife and Norman knife, so on the cheaper side of the kinds of Dopplers available. However, the big winner this week was the classic knife Vanilla, up a mind-boggling 25%, directly fueled by the recent hype around the CS20 case and its potential as an investment. And as for the losers, well, it goes pretty much as Okay, Shadow Dagger's Doppler minimal wear down 71%? Well, if this is the kind of numbers we're seeing, it may be wise to exclude the minimal wear Dopplers from analysis going forward because they're way too illiquid. Sorry for that. And finally, for gloves, we're getting signs that people are sleeping on field-tested gloves, with the hand wraps Constrictor up a biblical 58%, Spearmint's up a dizzying 36%, and the Cool Mint up a cool 33%. All in the field-tested condition. And this might not mean much on its own, but if we take a look at the losers, you'll notice that these failures are all factory new. The Hydro Gloves Emerald being the biggest of them all, losing 12%. The Hand Wraps Constrictor factory new, literally a better quality version of the biggest winner of this week, down over 6%. And the Yellow Banded, literally what the fuck is this name, down over 5%. It deserves to be down just for this name. See? Your gloves don't need to be factory new to have value, okay? Life is fair in the end. Welcome to ROI Radar, where we're looking for a money printer hidden in the armory or the in-game store. Starting off with the Halo capsule with an odds profit of 27%, an unboxing ROI of 82%, and an expected value of 81 cents, so an 18 cents loss. The best item was the Incineration Hollow at $4.53. The second best capsule in the in-game store was the Warhammer 40k Adaptus capsule, with an odds profit of 28%, an unboxing ROI of 90%, and an expected value of 89 cents, so a 10 cents loss. The best item was the Iron Halo at $3.49. And finally, the best capsule in the in-game store was the Info capsule with an odds profit of 21%, an unboxing ROI of 96%, and an expected value of 91 cents, so a 5 cents loss. The best item was the Chabo at $3.92. Moving on to the armory, the third best collection was the Sport and Field collection with an odds profit of 5%, an unboxing ROI of 100%, and an expected value of $1.60, so $0 or break even. The best item was the M41S Fade at $630. Next up are the Missing Link charms with an odds profit of 17%, an unboxing ROI of 108%, and an expected value of $1.30, so a 10 cents gain. The best item was the Hot Howl at $60.65. And finally, the best collection in the armory was the Character Sticker collection with an odds profit of 23%, an unboxing ROI of 108%, and an expected value of 43 cents, or a 3 cents gain. She just opened the fucking charms at this point. The best seller was the Googly Eye at $14.45. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.